Tobaccos, boozy, sweet fragrances. That's kind of the mix of what this past week was like. Dominated by tobacco, really, with some sweetness mixed in, some boozy tobaccos and so on, but predominantly a tobacco heavy week. It's week number 98 in the rotation, so stay tuned. Starting with a fragrance that's an absolute gem for the fall. It's 1 Million Privé from Paco Rabanne. What can I say that I haven't said before about this fragrance? For the longest time, this was my favorite fall fragrance. Still one of. And I feel like it doesn't get the love that it used to, but it still deserves it in my opinion, because it encompasses so many things, so many qualities that make for just a wonderful fall fragrance. It has that earthy tobacco warmth. It's more of a moist, earthy tobacco. There's a sweetness here. There's some warm cinnamon. It's not too sweet. It's not too spicy. It's pretty well balanced, to be honest with you, with the sweet spice balance with it. Like I said, this lovely, slightly earthy, more on the moist side of things. Tobacco. Very easy to enjoy. Very easy to get a compliment from. Lovely, lovely fragrance. I have a 50 ml. I also have a sealed backup 50 ml, so probably good for a very, very long time. It's one you haven't tried yet. You really should. You really should. 1 Million Privé, Paco Rabanne. Just one of the best out there when it comes to the fall time. And then a Nautica fragrance I haven't worn much recently that I have got not that long ago, because I haven't been wearing that many Nautica fragrances out the shower lately, but I decided to roll with Nautica Blue. You know, I've been kind of transitioning to a little bit heavier fragrances out the shower lately instead of just these cheap, fresh aquatics that I normally wear. But I still get the urge to wear stuff like this out the shower because, I mean, it's tried and true. Sometimes I just want fresh, clean, aquatic, easy to wear, and I only need a literal few hours out of it. And some of these Nautica fragrances are perfect for that, especially fragrances like Nautica Blue. Moving into Monday, I've been featuring this one a good bit on the channel lately. I actually wore it on Monday. I'm talking about Fahrenheit Le Parfum from Dior. It's one of those masterpiece type fragrances. I've spoken about it quite a bit here recently. It made a boozy fragrance list. It made a intoxicating fragrance video, because it is all of that. The rum in here really adds for this seductive scent profile, really changes what Fahrenheit was all about without veering off too far from the original's DNA, because the original DNA is very present in here. Not chock-a-block full of leather and overdone violet leaf, but the violet leaf is still there. Still a little bit of leather. Like I said, the heart of what Fahrenheit's about is still very present, but just toned back greatly. This rum and licorice kind of take over the fragrance, smooth it out, and make it just such a sexy scent. It really is. This stuff is so good. I don't know how, when, and where you can sample this one, but if you can, do it. In my opinion, this is the highlight of the line. Fahrenheit Le Parfum. We got the shower. Stuck with violet leaf. Only a much more fresh, citrusy take on violet leaf. Hermenegildo Zegna. This is Homme, and my favorite thing. I don't know why I always feel the need to do that because of the way the glass design is on this bottle. This is a 1 ounce bottle. These used to pop up at the rack stores all the time. 20 bucks for a 100 ml. I paid $8 on clearance for this 30 ml a few years ago. And from what I hear, it's discontinued. I think I saw somebody say something about that the other day. I don't know for certain if it is or if it isn't. It is a great fragrance though. If you can still find them around 20 bucks, it's always been a cheapy hidden gem at that price point. And has a little bit of uniqueness. It has kind of that Fahrenheit-esque, like a super fresh Fahrenheit style DNA, because it is a violet leaf dominated fragrance. Pretty much when you think of heavy violet leaf, you think of Fahrenheit. And I went from a boozy heavy version to a super fresh and light, not necessarily Fahrenheit, but I've had somebody ask me before if I was wearing Fahrenheit when I worked at Mercedes, Shout out to you, Rod, if you happen to see this video. I actually remember the instance because I said actually close. It shares a lot of similarities, so keep that in mind. Very, very fresh out the shower. It was a violet leaf kind of day. It was Xenia Uomo. You know, I have an older original batch bottle. It's my favorite clone fragrance that I own from Sensual Obsessions. I am talking about Bond Number 9 Andy Warhol. So this is the new bottle. This is a 33% oil concentration. The formula changed slightly. It's not as floral and powdery as the original. The ouds dialed up just a little bit more in this one. This is actually better than my old bottle, which I was very surprised by, because I cherish that old bottle because the next two batches weren't quite as good, whereas this most recent batch is the best, the cream of the crop. And those of you that have tried a lot of the Andy Warhol clones out there, you know, it's preference. I understand that. Me saying it's the best doesn't necessarily mean you will feel it's the best, but for me, in my opinion, this is the best clone of Bond Number 9 Andy Warhol out there. Has been for a long time. And to improve upon what I already considered the best, that's just stepping your game up, in my opinion. I did a full review on this one recently. Make sure to check out that video if you want my full thoughts on it with the performance and what I actually get from it. But during the day, Sensual Obsessions version, Bond Number 9 Andy Warhol. Now I got the shower. This has been an interesting find, to say the least. Montblanc Starwalker Extreme. So the more I smell this one, I wore it out the shower. Haven't wore it during the day yet. The more I smell this one, the more it intrigues me, because I do get a little bit of the original at its core, but not as much as you would want it to be. So this is not the same fragrance. This is, somebody made a comparison the other day, and I said I completely agree with that. I can't remember what the comparison was. Starwalker mixed with Montblanc Legend Night. I think that's a pretty good... Now, there's a little bit more fruity sweetness in here than either one of those provide, but I think that's a pretty good assessment overall of what this kind of smells like. It kind of smells like mixing the original Montblanc Starwalker with a little bit of Montblanc Legend Night. That's pretty fair to say, though there is, I find, a little bit more of a fruity sweetness than either of those have to offer, but it's decent. Is it something you need to rush out and get in hopes that it's a more powerful, longer lasting version of the original? No, don't run out to get it thinking that's what it is, because this is not what that fragrance is, unfortunately. But it is decent. It's interesting. If you can go into this fragrance with an open mind, not expecting it to be a more intense version of the original, you'll be okay. But if you go into it wanting it to be that, you're going to be disappointed. But people have been telling me they've been finding them for 25 bucks at Ross Dress for less. This came from Nordstrom Rack for 35 bucks. It's a 75 ml. I don't think I paid too much for it. I mean, 35 bucks. I do feel it's worthy. It is an average performer so far in my experience. The test sprays and then wearing out the shower is like a 6-hour fragrance on my skin, which for those of you that know Starwalker, that's a big improvement, because Starwalker is like a 2 or 3 hour fragrance. So out the shower, my first wearing Montblanc Starwalker Extreme. Moving into Wednesday, probably the booziest fragrance in my collection. I've done a full review on this one last year. It's something special. It smells like grapes and whiskey. It's El Gudo from Happy Land Studio. This is such an addictive fragrance to smell. Man, must try from the house. Must try. Shameless, Diabolique, this, and Paisley Sky, I think, are the 4 I would suggest. The 2 newest releases are great. This is one of the handful of newest releases from last year, and it's an arguable #1 from the company, in my opinion. If you like really boozy fragrances, and look, this is going to be polarizing, not everybody's going to like it. I said recently that it kind of smells like a bar room in the last video it was in, the Intoxicating Fragrances video, because there is kind of this incense smoky type of, you know, smoking at the bar type of vibe going in the dry down, mixed with this heavy whiskey smell. And the fruity notes up top, like I said, is grape, apple, brandy, whiskey kind of smell. I love the way this stuff smells. Super intoxicating and unique, and it's an extreme beast. Room filler if you're not careful, and lasts forever and ever. And I know that kind of stuff interests people, so if you're looking for something unique that's crazy boozy, You might want to look into El Gudo from Happy Land Studio. Then when I got out the shower, we actually went to dinner this night and had to go for a quick shave. So aftershave splash, I went with my vintage Nautica aftershave splash. Floral, aquatic, light. Doesn't last really long, so it could make way for my fragrance for when we left to go to dinner. I decided to go with Argos Triumph of Bacchus. Man, this stuff's so damn good. And my bottle has matured heavily over the last year or so. The color's actually darkened. The peach in the top has become the dominating note. It's a rich peach smell with the rum. It's peach rum is what it smells like up top, with this underlying warm spice and light tobacco note in the background. The apple's more subdued than it used to be. The apple kind of used to be in the forefront. It was like a crisp bite of an apple. Used to be what I got out the top note. It's kind of changed. Aging like a fine wine. This stuff matures. It's gotten richer. It's a lot more of a full-bodied type of smell. Stuff is so good. Get a sample and try this one. Yes, they're very expensive, but you get what you pay for. You get top-notch presentation. You get highest quality of oils. And I know performance is super important to you guys. It's a beast. Across the board, it's a beast. Check out Argos, link below for 10% off. Get yourself a sample pack and try it. Moving into Thursday was my first wearing of a new indie tobacco fragrance release that's quite unique. It's like, how can I describe this best? It's like an orangey smell up top. Then it starts to settle into this chocolatey, moist tobacco smell. It's Tobacco Boss from Authenticity Perfumes. I have been very impressed by this. It doesn't project like crazy off of me. It's pronounced. You can say I get wafts of it constantly, but it's not super loud. But man, it never goes away. This is one of the longest lasting I have from the house. Man, I don't have any other tobacco fragrance that smells like this. Like I said, that's the three most notable things for me. It's creamy. It's an orange type of smell, like a dense orange. It's kind of hard to describe the type of orange I get up top. Then it settles into this creamy, chocolatey tobacco smell that could be a combination of things with the leather mixing with the tobacco. There's some patchouli in there. Patchouli sometimes has a tendency of being chocolatey. There's a couple things that could be attributing to what I'm getting. It's a chocolatey, leathery tobacco smell with this orange up top. I love the way it smells. Love it, love it, love it. This was a great release. Definitely better than the new version of Romeo Blue that came out. While definitely better than the original Romeo Blue, still not really my cup of tea. So the new Romeo Blue's kind of meh for me, whatever. I doubt I'll ever even wear it, to be honest with you. But Tobacco Boss, oh man, this is a hit. This one's worthy of trying. Get your hands on a sample. There's always a link below with 10% off. Get your hands on Tobacco Boss and try it out. It's definitely worthy. If you want something different from the tobacco market, and it performs, give it a try. And then I got the shower on Thursday, and the following night on Friday, I decided to freshen things up. With all these heavy fragrances I've been wearing, I was in the mood for Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct Together. You guys know how much I love this fragrance. One of the best fresh cheapies out there. I've been seeing the 100 ml bottles pop up for $30 at the rack stores, so they did go up $5, but in my opinion, still worth it for $30 for a 100 ml of this fragrance. I still would have no problem paying that. I have a backup 50 ml as well as a backup 100 ml. Actually, I think I have two backup 50 mls and a backup 100 ml. So I don't plan on, because I spray it heavier than I need to when I wear it. It's one that I just really enjoy. It's very synthetic. It's sharp grapefruit, heavy ambergris. Smells kind of like Invictus Aqua, kind of like the color scheme of the bottle. Mixed with the original First Instinct. A little bit of YSL EDT in there. It's just mega fresh. It can definitely get some compliments. It has done that for me many times. And it's just enjoyable. It's very, very loud in the first hour or two. Doesn't last really long, 4 to 5 hour fragrance. But for what you're going to pay, you're going to smell really good for a few hours. Out the shower Thursday and Friday night. Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct Together. So moving into Friday is another indie niche house that reached out to me recently and asked me if I was interested in trying some of his original creations that he's actually learned perfumery and did for himself. And I gotta say, I have been impressed with Humidor from Goblin Parfums. This was such a great wear, because at the recording of this, it's Saturday evening. I wore this yesterday. Man. Earthy tobacco, this animalic, not super animalic, but animalic leather. There's a little bit of oud here adding to that animalic nature. There is benzoin and vanilla, but it's not overly done. It's not a tobacco vanille trade-off where there's a whole bunch of vanilla. The vanilla is more supportive, and underlying it is what gives it that sweetness, but it does not overtake it as a heavy vanilla smell. That's what I like the most about this. It's a Virginia leaf tobacco, because I ended up checking out the notes after the video, and Virginia leaf tobacco, that's the first time I think I've come across that, but it is more of an herbal, earthy tobacco, and I like earthy tobaccos more than your moist pipe tobaccos or the sweeter tobaccos. I like the sweetness to come from somewhere else, whereas this offers a little bit of a fruitiness to it from what I understand. I researched the Virginia tobacco leaf oil just a little bit to see what's different about it, and that's where that little bit of fruity nuance I'm getting that adds the sweetness, because it wasn't really a bunch of vanilla that I was smelling to give me the sweetness in the first impressions video that I did. But guys, if you can get your hands on this one and try it, yes, it's pricey for this 1.8 ounce. It's a 55 ml. They're going for $130. Get a sample if you can and try it. High quality oils. Performance is great without being obnoxious. I got every bit of 9 hours on my skin yesterday, and it wasn't overwhelming. I could constantly get wafts in my face. I didn't get any compliments or anything like that yesterday. I did go out and about, but I'm absolutely loving this one. Try this one if you can. During the day, Goblin Parfums. This is Humidor. And then once again, when I got the shower, like I said before, 2 nights in a row, I went with First Instinct together. Finally, on Saturday, I finally got around to giving this one a really good full wearing, and it's quite enjoyable. If you like creamy and smoky and earthy, you might like this one. An acquired taste for sure. I can see it being polarizing for some, but I think it's a guilty pleasure type of fragrance. Aaron Terrence Hughes and Fragmental Smolder. Oh yeah. I think it's a guilty pleasure type of fragrance. Whereas it's one of those fragrances that you have all to yourself. You know no one around you has it. You know you're smelling unique amongst your group, your family, your friends, your co-workers. Real good chance you're the only one that has this around you. And it's a conversation starter because it doesn't smell like everything else. Strong creamy nature up top, heavy incense dose I get on my skin with this slightly earthy tobacco in the background. I get a little bit of freshness up top. It does have a clean musky smell, but it really dries into this creamy smoky accord that I'm really digging. It's still on my skin right now as we speak. It's been about 7 hours. I still get wafts when I turn my head and stuff like that to let me know it's there. It's not overwhelmingly powerful, but it stays. As I'm wearing it right now, it's still going strong. I'm sure if I don't take a shower for another 2 hours, it'll still be there. So if you can get your hands on this one in some kind of way, by all means do so. Last I checked, it was sold out. Don't know if they're ever going to be making more, but I'm glad to have a bottle. I gotta say, those of you that have a bottle, what do you think about it? Make sure to let me know in the comments. But during the day, ATH and FM, Smolder. And then I'm going to be taking a shower in a little while, and I have a hankering for some iris. Not just any iris. I want fruity fresh. So my favorite fruity fresh iris, definitely Juliet Has a Gun Lipstick Fever. Raspberry, iris, violet leaf. Excuse me, violet absolute, not violet leaf. I love this stuff. It's really good. Clearly marketed for the ladies, but I don't care. It smells great to me. I mean, clearly marketed. It's called Lipstick Fever. Hey, you like what you like, and I love this stuff. It smells incredible. Does have a little bit of a it does masculine up a tiny bit as it dries down with this cedar and this patchouli. It gives it a little bit more of an edge, but up top it's very fruity floral. I wouldn't call it overly feminine. If you like Dior Homme, this isn't any more feminine than Dior Homme, and I'm talking about Dior Homme that has iris in it, the older stuff. But the raspberry in here is just, it's delightful. That's why, like I said, I have a hankering for this one tonight. So after I get out the shower, I will be pulling the trigger several times on this and enjoying several hours of it wafting in my face for no good reason. Out the shower, Saturday night, it's going to be Juliet Has a Gun, Lipstick Fever. That was week number 98's rotation, and until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What'd you wear this weekend? You guys know the drill if you watch this rotation on a regular basis. Put it down in the comments. I like to see what your fragrant week looked like. Did you wear 1 or 2 fragrances, or did you wear something different every day like I tend to do most of the time? I love reading that kind of stuff. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the fragrances I wore in my last rotation, you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.